Hello, everybody, and welcome. Welcome, welcome. I'm so happy to see you all already chatting it up in the comments, saying hello to each other. I love it. If you're new to the stream, welcome. We like to create a community here on Evening Vibes. So, feel welcome to introduce yourself no matter what platform you're watching on. I love to say hello to you. I also like to start the show by having people, tell me how their week is going. Let me know how you're doing, how your day has been, week has been. If you're new to the stream, maybe how life has been. I like to catch up. I like to know how everybody is doing. Um, Hi, Wendy. We have Wendy, Luna Banks. Hello, Luna, everyone. Luna has a show tomorrow. You should check out. It's free on Instagram. I'm excited to see it. I think it's at 6 o'clock. That's gonna be really fun. And my mom, hi mom, Julie, April, got all regulars in the house. Hello, M. Hi. Oh no, this week sucked. I'm sorry, M. Well, I hope things get better. For those that don't know, M is our high schooler, our senior 18-year-old high schooler who is doing just switched to going to in-person school in Celine. So she's not living her best life right now, but we're hoping that she's safe and that her and her family stay healthy. Hi, Jen Martin. It's good to see you. Uh, for me personally, my week has been pretty good. I kind of feel like quarantine is kind of getting to me. Um, I feel like, I mean, with like the weather, it being like gray and gross out, I just like, I want to go do things and it's just very hard. But today the sun was out. Jaden and I went for a walk with our dogs and I feel a lot better. Hi, Nick. Hi, Patrick and Susan. So doing what we can. And hi, Jenna. Um, and we had a really great conversation meeting, I guess, before the show started, which got me really excited for today's show. So I'm very excited for you all to see what we have today. Today we're talking about Ann Arbor Pride and Jim Toy Community Center, both located here in Ann Arbor. Or, well, I'm in Ypsilanti, but I'm near Ann Arbor, so close. And we're also, with that being said, raising money for Ann Arbor Pride this week. So instead of tipping to me this week, I ask that you check out the link that is pinned in the comment section. Regardless of what platform you're on, it should be in your comment section. And please buy a ticket to Drag Bingo, which is this Friday. Even if you cannot attend, the money still helps out an amazing cause. And if you can't attend and you're just donating, maybe you can shoot us an email and we can donate your ticket to somebody else who can't afford to come. We like to keep things positive and happy here at Boylesque and support each other in any way that we can, especially with the family that we keep creating here, which has been really great with virtual. We've gotten to know you guys a lot better. Speaking on that, a special shout out to Julie. Julie sent us an amazing package this week from our Amazon wish list, which is also available in the link that is posted in your comments. She sent us a new green screen, which is like ginormous. We're super excited. And she also sent us what is going to be this week's book for our family friendly show. So I'm excited for that. What is happening over here? I've got a glass of wine, freshly baked cookies, so I'm ready for some me time with all of you. That's perfect. I'm glad, Jenna. You live your best life. April says been sick for 4 days. Oh, I'm sorry, April. I hope you feel better. That's awful. I think Nick said I'm hanging in there. Well, I'm glad you all are here tonight. I'm super happy you are taking your time to be here with us tonight. It's going to be a really good show. This next hour, just breathe with us, just talk, chill, and we're here for you. I'm always here for you guys. But let's get this show started. So today we have president of Jim Toy Community Center, newly deemed president. We have Joe with us today. We also have the amazing Elizabeth, who has been on the Jim Toy Community Center board for a very long time. And then we also have Ann Arbor Pride's entertainment director, Jadein Black. So I'm going to bring him onto the screen with us. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Hi.
Joe, you're a little scary sounding. Yeah, you sound like a robot. You sound very what I used to sound like when I would have some tech issues with the site. You might have to take your headphones out, put them in the case. unconnect them from your computer and then like redo it all. So I'm gonna take you while you figure that out. I'll talk to these beautiful
I
people.
I
Oh.
just want some cookies. So if Jenna is baking cookies and she wants to send some, I'd love that.
Jenna, you heard it here first. Ship some cookies up to amazing is in our favorite place in the world, Beaver Island. She would appreciate it. So would you like, while we're waiting for Joe, would you guys be able to introduce yourself? I'll start with you, Elizabeth.
Sure. My name is Elizabeth. I'm an attorney in Ann Arbor. That's where my office is, but I handle cases all over the place, mostly Washtenaw County, though, and mostly family law cases. So everything ranging from divorce to custody, parenting time, but I handle other things too. I work with businesses, small businesses, and help them out as well. Um, I've been on the board for, this is like, I think this is a question we were trying to figure out earlier. How long has Elizabeth been on the board? Um, I think it was 2015, but I was working with the board starting in 2013, just helping out with different projects. There's kind of a long lost golfing tournament that used to happen, and I say long lost because I think 2013 was the last year. But yeah, so I've helped out for a while.
Awesome. Jaden, do you want to go?
Yes. So Jim Toy Community Center, it has been a ride. Let me tell you, I started being introduced to the nonprofit Jim Toy Community Center by way of Necto. In my first couple years working there, Scott, our owner, would book us out and sponsor our entertainment the first couple years, which it was in October. Ann Arbor Pride was originally Outfest. Outfest is not the same thing as Outbar, just so you know. It's a O. So a lot of people are like, Outbar runs Outfest. No, that's not how it works. Anyways, it was created to be yourself, and a community celebration around Braun Court is what it was created for. So I joined. My first performance was 2014. Me and Chanel came in. Our friend Amy was a DJ. She's locally known too, and performed 2 numbers before I was off to a bar in Inkster Stilettos. And so after that, I was asked to provide some entertainment the next year for our Washtenaw County Pride Picnic, which used to happen each and every August. It's the first week in August, the first Saturday in August, which it consists of vendors. So I brought up this crazy idea to have a drag show to the board. And here's this part. I found a sponsor to sponsor the whole budget. So for one, we carried this small. I remember in the back of my mom's truck, we carried this small stage that is, I think, in the same basement of Jim Choi Community Center, over to I think it's called Almendinger Park, and we put it right outside this pavilion that had like, that's where people like had like food was stored and stuff like that for like community events. And that was where our dressing room was. And so we performed right on that little stage. That was the first time I ever performed in drag where my boots went directly into the ground. And here's what happened. I did a kick, and let me tell you, I almost called Sam Bernstein on their butt. But it's okay. I landed on my butt and I kept on going. But after that, I was entertainment director the next year. It was in Outfest was in October again. It started to sleet and hail. I remember I was in Outbar, as I said, when we were meeting with Carol and Christine, and Travis and a few others, and just looking outside thinking, what have we got ourselves into? So we're like, we need to push this to August because we can't mess around with these hoes in October. So the weather, the meteorologist, it just was not. October's going to an outdoor event in Michigan. I mean, last year we had our brunch at Outbar, which was 70 degrees in October. Well, when does that actually happen? So think about it. It could be snowing, which it was sleeting. So Then I became the entertainment director after a few years after my dear friend Christine left the board of Jim Toy Community Center, which has always been an outsource advocate, one of my main people at NECDO, and she's done an amazing job. Now she's working with Live Nation, but it's introduced me into booking gigs, booking bands. I think at some point I messaged Elizabeth on a band contract on if you ever did that before, and she's like, I don't think. Oh yes, you were in a band, and I think you really helped me. I think it was somebody else that told me they didn't know. Maybe it was Leo, but anyway, that was my experience. And so Ann Arbor Pride each year, I try to cover with Boylesque of the drag budget and a little bit more, so we can donate as much money for this resource center. The resource center too, with my experience too, my ex-partner was a founder of F2M A2IPSI, which also held multiple meetings there for F2M identify people, or just gender fluid people that were questioning who they wanted to be. And so providing that safe space at Jim Toy Community Center for different queer groups and Alcoholic Anonymous, Al-Anon meetings. Jim Toy Community Center has just been, it's unnoticed unless you've been there, but let me tell you, it's been a big part of the Ypsilanti, Washtenaw County, Ann Arbor community, providing all these resources for our community to grow. And so that is my summary and my recap of Jim Toy Community Center.
Thank you. And Joe, finally, let's see if your audio is fixed. Who are you and your involvement with all of this? Oh, you're not fixed, bud.
Hang on.
Here, just take. Okay.
The headphones is that.
Can you just disconnect your AirPods and just talk to us? And
Yeah,
use your-
disconnect your AirPods.
Just use the audio on your computer. Ooh, I can hear me.
Work now.
I'm gonna take you off, and I'm gonna text you. Okay. I could hear myself. It was making me uncomfortable. While I get Joe's thing figured out with him, not to put you two on the spot, but can we start off just simply kind of explain to people? Julie put it in the comments because she knew that some of us were still kind of learning. But can we start talking about like the basis of like who Jim Toy is and how the center came to be? You're muted, Elizabeth.
It's like the
Like I'm
story of my
Zoom
life.
meeting.
It's the story of my life. Like, how many times have you heard somebody say you're muted? I mean, what, 100? I've heard
If I
people
had
say
a
it
dollar,
times.
if I had a dollar, I'd be rich.
So rich. I would love to. So I took some notes because Jim has done more than maybe all of the people I know combined in his lifetime. And he's just really a super incredible person. And so there's a lot to say. And I'm going to try to be brief, but I am going to read some things. So
That's perfect. I'm here for it.
So Jim, first of all, Jim lives in Ann Arbor, and he moved to Michigan in the late 1960s when he was studying at the University of Michigan for a master's in social work. So that's kind of how that was his foray into the Ann Arbor community. And on April 15, 1970, I'm giving you that date because I think it's super important, Jim stood up at an anti-Vietnam War rally and told everybody that he was gay.
Wow.
Which was a really super big deal, obviously for him, but also a big deal because he was the first gay man to come out publicly, not to come out, I mean, with friends or family, but I mean, to come out publicly in the state of Michigan. So it was a really big kind of momentous occasion, I think, probably for him as well. In 71, he established the Human Sexuality Office at the University of Michigan, which was the first staffed office for LGBTQ people in the United States. So
Oh,
that's
wow.
also a huge deal.
Yeah.
The HSO became the Spectrum Center. So that is the Spectrum Center.
Mhm.
The Spectrum Center has a library that is named the Jim Toy Library,
Oh,
and it
cool.
houses like 1,500 titles and supports LGBTQ people by providing information. So if you're ever looking for any kind of information about LGBTQ folks or history or anything, that's kind of your jam. He then went on to just do so many things that I won't list all of them because we don't have time for that. But Wikipedia, hit it up. There, if you just Google Jim Toy, there are so many articles and websites and amazing resources just to learn about him. And I totally suggest it because it's incredible. Like you're going to be totally blown away. So really, like kind of in summary, for the past 50 years, he has worked for equality and safety for everyone. I think that he's founded or co-founded. I couldn't even count the number of committees and groups and societies, ranging from things associated with churches to RAP, which was the first version of the Jim Toy Community Center. And RAP, he founded that. He was a founding member of RAP in 1995, I think.
What does that stand for?
Oh man, you would ask me that.
Washtenaw Rainbow
Rainbow
Action
Action.
Project
Oh, there's
Oh, your sound
Joe.
is on.
is my
There
sound.
it is.
Yay.
Yay!
Victory!
So Jim was a founding member of RAP, and then RAP was renamed Jim Toy Community Center in 2010. But I guess after kind of looking at all of the things about Jim and reading, I did a lot of reading. I think like maybe the thing that I would want people to know the most is that he's just a wonderful person. I mean, if you Google him and you start reading, you're going to start seeing quotes from people saying just being in his presence made me feel more calm and at home and peaceful. And I think we need more Jim Toy in the world. It's
Totally.
I was thinking about it while I was reading, and I thought, gosh, like if we could just all be a little bit more like Jim Toy, maybe the world would just be better. So
Yeah.
that's Jim.
I love that. Thank you, Elizabeth. Joe, do you want to do your introduction now?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So, Riley, thank you so much for having us. My name is Joe Schoch. I use he, him, his pronouns, and I am the president of the Jim Toy Center and the director of Ann Arbor Pride. I know that's a lot, but I couldn't do it without these amazing people here on this stream. So yeah, my history with the center goes back to 2016. I was inspired to get involved actually after the Pulse shooting in Orlando, and so that national tragedy hit me like no other had done in my recent memory, maybe aside from 9/11. But I wanted to be active in creating safe spaces and communities. And so I signed up to be a day volunteer in the Kids Zone. I thought that would be a really nice place to build community and meet new people and different types of people as well. And I was right. I was absolutely right. It was such a fun gig that they had me back next year running the Kids Zone. And then I've been either co-director with Leo or director with with an awesome team since.
That's awesome. I love the Kid Zone at Pride. I feel like it in my I mean, I've only been twice, but in the 2 years, I feel like just itself, it's evolved. I like how it changes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. One of my favorite things about Ann Arbor Pride specifically is I feel like we do um, a pretty good job of trying to represent all sorts of people, families, school-aged LGBTQ plus individuals, adults, seniors, and we've got some great resources and great partners in the Metro Detroit ecosystem to help pull all those systems or all those people and communities together.
Totally. So, now we've talked about kind of, like, the history of everything, um, and I think this was addressed, in Jaden's intro, and tell me if it was. I might have just forgotten it. But the biggest question I get is how how did Pride get into August? Like, I know Outfest was October, right? But why not does anyone know why not just into June with everybody else?
Well, I think at first, what I was telling, like in my intro, like it was freezing cold. We had
Right.
sleet. The vendors left. Like it was a wrap. It was like we needed a change. And then what happened was is the board and Leo like was like, okay, well, we need to start doing something in the warmest month because there was already Pride Picnic in August. Pride Picnic always happened every single Washington County Pride Picnic. I'm sorry. So it happened every August, and Joe was a little a part of that. Probably Elizabeth was part of that decision too. Like I remember them telling me after a board meeting that, of course, we're going to move it to August. There's unanimous consent that we have to do this. You know, it's just like it just won that over. So that's my understanding, Joe.
Yeah, I agree with that. The other things I'll add on to is when we look at June, there are so many beautiful Pride celebrations. And to turn it into a competition of people and attendees and sponsorship dollars isn't what Pride's about to me. So let's throw it in August and let's extend Pride season throughout the whole summer. Why not?
I love that because I mean, just as someone who's involved in the community, and I'm in a lot of situations where I'm the only like super open person about my like who I am, what I do, and with drag and everything, like in workspaces, people are always comfortable coming to me and they're like, so can you tell me what's up with Ann Arbor Pride? Why isn't it August? Why can't we have it in June with everybody else? I'm like, why not have Pride all summer? Like, why? Why are
That's
you
my vote.
pushing? Because I mean, it gives you something to look forward to, especially in the area now that Ipsy Pride is starting to like establish itself. This will be its 4th year, so I mean, it's just kind of cool to see it's like prolonged throughout the summer.
Toledo's is the Saturday after ours. So they're helping to push it out even further.
There you go. The more you know. I didn't even know that. That's awesome.
Mhm.
I want to just take a minute to say that anyone who's watching, if you have questions or comments for anyone that's here with us tonight, we're totally open to those. Um, you've been kind of quiet tonight, which is super unlike all of you. I was telling all 3 of these people that you talk so much to me, and now y'all are being quiet. Kevin said, yes, Pride is not a competition. There you go. Talk to us. We're here. We're human.
And to add on to that, Pride is not a competition. You know, it's very hard. Very hard to plan a Pride, especially what the last couple years with trying to make sure everybody is noticed. And that's the thing is Pride is not just LGBTQA plus anymore. It is Black Lives Matter. It is immigration. You know, different. You can be whoever you want to be, and so my envision with Ann Arbor Pride and how I envision being on the board in our mission is acceptive of whoever you are and making sure our entertainment, me, myself as the entertainment director, making sure there is it's a diverse um it's a diverse schedule. You know, and it's hard sometimes because, you know, this past year with the Black Lives Matter movement, I contacted many performers that didn't feel comfortable performing, especially because they were feel, you know, I couldn't imagine. Like one thing I live my life on is people will say, oh, I know how you feel, especially maybe people from last Wednesday. Let's not even go into that. So, but people say too many things of, I know how you feel. Oh, so that's how, it's like a stab right to your soul and your heart, because you don't know how one person has dealt with this situation over another person. And so Ann Arbor Pride, working with this great group, small but great group, it has opened my eyes and what I book in my own shows. So Jim Toy Community Center has played a huge part in this, and so have the two people to the side and above me. Like, it's that's what we do. We have to make the world a better place. And just especially right now during this time, this is probably going to be the hardest pride that we're going to plan, because never know what we're going to go up against in August.
For sure. I mean, with the virus, things are changing day to day, literally. So you
And
can't even predict.
and to Jaden's point, that's why we didn't want to cancel Pride. Canceling Pride last for 2020 or 2021 wasn't ever an option in our minds. As soon as we started like getting the reality started setting in a little bit, we're getting on the phones, talk to the board. Jaden and I, we had a big long conversation and drove out this crazy idea of a Second Life version of Pride and trying to make it as interactive as possible. And yeah, we fell a little short of that, but I still think we were able to build this virtual community. And one thing that we weren't able to do before, that in hindsight was such a blessing, we were able to reach 20,000 people in 11 different states. That was something that we hadn't been able to do before with a physical space. But more importantly, people in our own communities that already had health issues, or maybe they weren't out, so they didn't want to participate in Pride, or didn't feel safe coming to Pride, or maybe people didn't have a ride, or any number of reasons, but they still want to participate. They could. And I think because of that, virtual will always have a place in Pride.
For sure. And on that same topic, so is it official to say what Ann Arbor Pride is doing for 2021, physical versus online?
Yeah,
well, about as official as we can make it. Pride this year is going to be hybrid, and as Jade was talking about a little bit earlier, we want to be able to roll with the punches. We want to plan for the worst and hope for the best. And so, best case scenario, we would love to be able to host watch parties in a hybrid format. So still have the main content being streamed at maybe a hotel or a nightclub or a restaurant, and then host watch parties where we can support local businesses or gather safely in small groups and in homes where we can build at least a little bit of community.
I think would help too, researching these different things, seeing all these spaces right now that are not being used in our community. So right away, we've been talking about, I first thing popped in my head, the Ann Arbor Eagle Crest, Ypsilanti. Like, they have 2 auditoriums, they have multiple ballrooms. And so even if we're still at a social distant minimized, it's going to be a lot safer than having it here at my house again, because there is all this room. And contacting the person there, they're like, oh yeah, get your sponsorship pack it together, because I want to bring it to my director next Thursday when you come view all the space, which is amazing. So even if we do that, or Blue Llama or something like that, it also highlights our gems in our community, especially hotels, or because right now people don't. I've heard a lot of hotels are being used for shelters and stuff like that, and helping people that are just out there in the cold, which I think is amazing.
That is amazing.
So using our resources in our community right now, because January, we have till August. If we work little bit by little bit, it's going to be amazing. Last year, the week before, our tech company didn't know what the fuck they were doing. Oh, excuse me. But they didn't know what they were doing. They wanted to charge a lot of money. And I was like, well, we've been doing these virtual shows for this many months. And I looked at Riley and I was like, it was one of those things where you want to ask your partner something, but it might ruin your relationship and their lives. So it was very hesitant, but it was much needed because I knew he would take care of it. I knew things would work. And it might be hard, but we have a week to figure it out. So the week before, we went right into that red brain mode, like, okay, let's do this, let's do this. And then like that blue brain, like figuring out what we needed to do, and green, like, and we made it happen. Even though there was a rainstorm outside of our house that we started, I started hosting outside, and then we end up, we've been doing the shows inside, and we all wore masks and stuff. So it was great. It was a great experience. And thank God, from that, my knowledge, nobody contracted coronavirus during that time. It was me and Riley did contracted months afterwards, but
Unrelated.
I'm very happy to, unrelated, that I test positive for antibodies this week. So that was amazing to do. So I want to real quick make some noise for all of our healthcare workers that are working really hard to get all that, and government officials to get that rolled out, because they're underappreciated. And hopefully, because of them, we'll have an amazing hybrid Pride this year.
Yes, for
I
sure.
love the idea of keeping it hybrid. I mean, we have people commenting right now, like Julie is saying, like it caters to people who can't go out or who aren't able to get to Ann Arbor for Pride. And so what an awesome gift to be able to share it with so many more people.
We've been talking about that too with just boylesque shows, keeping a hybrid option for those. We've gained so many out of town and out of state viewers to our regular shows that it's like we're trying to think of ways that, like, once we're able to be back at tap room someday, how to still keep it virtual for our friends that can't make it to Ypsilanti.
Because you got to think of it, we're reaching these people, and we're touching, one thing that my mission for drag too in our shows, we're reaching these people where they're in their house. They might not have these resources. They might be at home with their family struggling with their self and their identity. So giving them some acceptance and some green light and introducing them to Jim Toy, it's just promoting the name and being something bigger and worldwide, and educating this generation that might not know who Jim Toy is, that this person is a figure that will go down in history as one of the biggest LGBTQ, fighters of our history.
So we've talked a lot. I was gonna say a little. We've talked a lot about Ann Arbor Pride. I kind of want to hit on Jim Toy Community Center, kind of what started this whole idea for like this week, talking about Pride and everything. With the news that what has happened with the physical space of Jim Toy Community Center, and also the idea of Jim Toy Community Center. Joe, do you want to start that conversation?
Yeah, it was a difficult decision to shut down the physical space, but at the end of the day, the board, we all have a responsibility to the donations that we receive. We have a responsibility to spend that wisely, to engage actively in the community. And so it was time at that point to end our lease. And so the lease expired in a couple of weeks, and so we'll be moved out of that space. More importantly, it's just the physical space that's closing. I do want people to understand that the Jim Toy Center is still here. We are still active. People can follow us on Facebook and send messages through there. I think Julie put in our phone number in the chat too, along with our vision statement. Thank you, Julie. I appreciate it. So if people do need to reach out, we're here. And I think the biggest challenge that the Jim Toy Center has ahead of us is a unique opportunity to really reset and really put forth Jim's message into the universe in a really accessible way with a virtual setting. And then throughout this year, really start building up capital funds, really start building up some money where we can make some really cool decisions around what the next iteration of the Jim Toy Community Center is going to be.
Yeah. What are thoughts around this is a really deeper question, but I think it's really important, and I think it can create a good conversation, but you don't have to answer anything you don't want to answer.
Hmm.
So Jim Toy Center has always been a staple of like Ann Arbor.
Hmm.
And someone who's moved to Ypsilanti, I started going to school in Ypsilanti area in 2013, and I didn't know about Jim Toy Center until maybe 2 years ago. So I went like, what is that, like 5 years basically without knowing about it, and I live in the
Hmm.
area,
Hmm.
technically speaking. And I
Hmm.
didn't know about it until Pride. So, what what are your thoughts on that and on going forward for people of my generation who didn't, because I seen the comments, people like April saying like I learned about it in school.
Hmm.
Um and I didn't. Like that was not a thing when I went to Eastern, like Gym Toy Community Center was like not a thing anyone ever talked about because it was just I don't know. I can't say. But do you get what I'm saying? What I'm
I
getting
do.
at?
I do. And I think that, you know, as all businesses and communities and nonprofits grow, we have to change and evolve with the times, and we need to think more creatively as we try and reach out to all types of people in all areas. And I think historically, we've focused most of our efforts in the Ann Arbor area, which is where we have all of most people know us. Um, I think one thing looking forward, we have to think about branding and marketing and how we get our message out. I think a great example of this is the transition from Outfest to Ann Arbor Pride. We love Outfest. We love Outfest history. We love the context and what it means and what it does for our communities. But we wanted to make it even more accessible and even more well known. And so we decided to associate it with the word pride and pride festivals because it was more well known. When people say, "Hey, I'm going to Pride," it it conjures up images. It conjures up different events that might happen or might be going on versus something like Outfest. So one of the things that I really want to look into in um, in my time as president is what else can we do to broaden the Gym Toy Community Center name? And again, I think this is the most prime opportunity, if there's ever been a prime opportunity to do so. As we're closing our physical space, it's never been more critical. So, in addition to stepping up our virtual and our digital game, I also want to make sure that we're serving wider Washtenaw County, and that not to make it just so focused into one specific city. So, so yeah, I think that's where my vision is, kind of long term in branding.
Right now, and maybe if you could speak on a little bit too previous to COVID, because COVID
Mhm.
kind of ruined a lot of things. What services within like the recent year has Gym Toy been offering outside of like Pride?
Yeah, so it's mostly just been fundraising with for Pride to keep the operations going of the center. Tangentially, we've done other things like the Gym Toy Birthday Bash, and we're also pretty active in policy. So when you hear things like Fair and Equal Michigan, and we're trying to evolve the EEO statement, Gym Toy Center often has a part in there. Gym Toy Center also has relationships with Washtenaw County. So Jason Morgan, on the chair of the commissioners of Washtenaw County, we have a great relationship with him, and they consult with us. Same thing with the mayor of Ann Arbor, are the second LGBTQ liaison was Travis Regina, the president before me. So a lot of it has been, in more recent years, more advocacy and governmental driven versus maybe some of the more programming that people used to see maybe 5 years ago.
That's really cool. Just to kind of know that that's happening. Um, to know, because I mean, people again outside of like people like me who moved here and didn't maybe know much about it, I could still mention Gym Toy Community Center to people that have been here for a super long time, and instantly they would know what that is. So it's cool that like you've been doing work that way, even if it feels like, because there's been points where I've thought like Gym Toy Community Center, like what are they doing? Like they just say they're a community center. So it's really cool to know for me, for people like me, that like, oh, you've been doing work, even if it's not work we've been able to see, which is sometimes the most important work.
I would absolutely agree with that. I think part of creating these safe spaces does come from a legislative perspective as well. I mean, Anne Marie, yes, Jim Toy is still with us. He lives in Ann Arbor.
What does is he able does he I know he like because images show pre-COVID, you know, he's still able to attend events. Is that basically all he does at this point? Does he make any decisions anymore on anything or
We keep him abreast of what's going on, and he trusts us to run the board. He's really happy. I had the privilege of going to videotape him a Pride message from last year, and so it was nice to see and learn more about him on a more human level. And then when I learned about the Jim Toy Library and the Spectrum Center, it was no surprise to see that his apartment is full of books as well as his community center. And just to get to know him and his passions and a little bit more about his point of view on things.
so at this point,
Well, I
what
think
oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to add that I think going forward, you know, that's how we're going to move forward with the center and all of these new opportunities. We're going to keep that base, which is he is the foundation, right? So we'll keep that foundation, and we're just going to build amazing, beautiful things on it because that's possible. Like he made that possible. I, hope that he.
You glitched a little bit, but summarizing,
Just a little.
just a little, saying that we're building on what he's created in honor of him. Is that basically what the gist? Did I catch it?
Yep.
Okay,
You got
it. No, I love that. I love that outlook going forward with everything. In the meantime, what is happening with the physical space? Does anyone know? Or is it just like, do you just have to like move out and put stuff somewhere? Do you need assistance putting stuff somewhere?
Stuff is in our chat too.
Yeah, we have stuff here in our house.
Yeah, you do.
Where is it going?
That's why I'm delaying picking it up. What's happening is the lease is up, and so we don't own the building. That's up to the owners on what they want to do with it, along with some other buildings in Bruncourt. So we have nothing to do with that. We do have a storage unit, so we'll be able to save a lot of the important things and heavy things, unfortunately. And then we'll also be going through and really making sure that we're categorizing like the historical information, making sure that the history is preserved so we can continue to tell this story for hopefully another 25, 50 years.
That's awesome. I'm glad there's stuff in place because again, as like an outside perspective, I'm like, what's gonna happen? Where does all the stuff go? What do you do?
Yeah, and some of it, very frankly, we're still trying to figure out. The Jim Toy Center is 100% volunteer run, so all of us have day jobs that we're doing on top of caring for our community. So on that note, help is always welcome. Perspective is always welcome. If people are interested in getting involved with the center, or you have ideas for programming, or maybe you have something that you have an idea for Pride and you want to help out with Pride, or you're really technical, or graphic design, or marketing, or social. There's so many gifts and talents that people have in our community. If you're looking for a place to express them or to contribute, we would love to have your point of view.
And it is a lot of work. It is a lot of work in talking to a lot of people, one thing I've learned in life, there's a lot of things to say, okay, I'm going to do something. We all go through life differently, and it's very hard. Last year, Pride was thrown together with 4 people. But you know what? It's usually, we want to make it as diverse as possible, and it's hard when having a lot of people, but that is the whole goodness of what we do in our daily life, is to have different points of view and come together and give this gift to our community, and to raise awareness to people that might not accept, who we are or what we identify as or what Gym Toy Community Center does, and hopefully fills their heart and soul to open their heart and accept, different, at least somebody different, maybe somebody in their family that they encountered, and they're thinking to themselves, oh, I could have acted that way a little bit different. Maybe that's how they would have felt, because, feeling like you're ostracized in a community, we have a lot of people, especially our digital platform through Ann Arbor Pride, like they're like tuning in, and maybe the first comment might be like, who's that man in a dress? Why are they doing drag? Blah, blah, blah. But then they're watching and they're like, I'm appreciating the art a little bit more. Do I fault them? Yeah, it's hard. We all have critics, but it's a learning technique, and hope that's our goal. You always have to have some optimism in there, because if you don't live your life with some, there is future, there's going to be an amazing future where, who knows what your dreams are, living on Beaver Island, or, doing whatever your heart desires. That's the thing that is so emotionally fulfilling about Pride.
Totally. I agree. With the little time that we have, the last thing I want to ask is the other common question I get, how can people, you already kind of hit on like Gym Toy Community Center, they can like send you suggestions if they want. How can people volunteer? Like what is an actual, like how can they contact you to volunteer with Gym Toy and also with Pride? It's very limited obviously when you're virtual, but how can they stay in the know about needs for volunteers, I guess, as you become able to be out with people again?
Yeah, and even in a virtual setting, we need help. We need support. And thank you, Julie, for your suggestions. Absolutely. So people can reach out to us on our website, gymtoycenter.org. There is a contact form that goes directly to me. I'm also updating with contact information for myself and my fellow board members here shortly. You can also reach out to us on Facebook under Gym Toy Center and I guess I should say Ann Arbor Pride. Those are both two separate pages, but go to the same groups of people. But if you have passions for one versus another, more power to you.
Also,
and then people are always welcome to reach out to me directly, joes@gymtoycenter.org.
Also in the entertainment, sense too this year, I want to change things up, because especially, we are the group that we do fundraising and stuff like that. But this year, I think we have enough time that we might even have 2 separate channels for some things. So what I really want to do is get the community involved with the fundraising. So especially other performers in the community, as Boylest, Michigan, whatever like that, as one of our Friday shows, I think it'd be really good to invite maybe some bands, some whoever wants to perform, and invite their family and friends to support Gym Toy Community Center Ann Arbor Pride and raise money, and they'll get to perform. I think the opportunities are endless, but I think if we're a community, we need to think in sense, and I've learned this over the years. We have to do for each other. We have to be there for one another in order to make some kind of change, right? And so if we're all in this together, if I have entertainers, I do a casting call or I'll reach out to some people, because sometimes it takes that reaching out. Because if you might think that, oh no, I don't want to perform virtually for a Pride, and then it ends up being a great experience, a fulfilling experience that you haven't had since you were live performing. So that gives some kind of emotional connection, and it gives many people some opening doors to say, oh no, Ann Arbor Pride's not just, Jadein Black. It's not just this entertainment, because I want to learn too. As an educator, I want to learn. I want to learn what people love and what people like to do. And that, as a versatile, eclectic entertainer, it's hard for people to admit that, because we are so, I have a huge ego, but the thing is I want to learn. I want to know what you think, and I want to see inside your heart. And that's why I do drag. And so with the entertainment side, with volunteering and like helping out too, I think that's going to help out a lot because we definitely have some things, if we move to a 2-channel scale this year, and which I hope we do, is okay, if they don't want to watch drag right now, they can watch a band, or they can watch a story time, or click here. I think this is our, like I said, the opportunities are endless. Last year, we decided to stick small and see how the cookies bake. And then if they're good, you add some chocolate chips and some, cherries or almonds, whatever have you, peanut butter.
I always
And
add chocolate chips.
that's how you build onto something and make it great. Just like Pride started. It started small, and then it started a few more people. Then we closed down one big street, and then they had a fit, so we couldn't close down that street anymore. So we did another street and a parking lot. So like I said, the opportunities are endless. And these two, have put in, and especially Elizabeth's partner, Carol Kunke, the judge in Ann Arbor, she has done so much for Jim Toy Community Center, and countless hours of after we pack it in and they're there, after I pack it in as entertainment director in the center, I come back and at 9 o'clock in the morning, they're there. And I'm like, is this reality right now? Or Joe, like it's what we love to do, and it fills our heart and souls. And sometimes, let me tell you, I second guess myself, and I'm like, am I going to do this for another year? Do I have what this takes? But the thing is our community, if I hate to say it, if we don't do it, who will? And the best people, we want to add, but we need to give this opportunity to everybody.
With that, does anyone, Elizabeth or Joe, do you have any last things you want to say? And then I'll pass it back to you, Jaden.
I mean, I have just had a wonderful time, so thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, and thank you to your audience for listening. I had a really good time.
I'm glad you had fun. I did too. Jaden, do you have any last things you want to say?
Like I do everything. Tomorrow I have homework for each and every one of you. Find 5 people you don't usually talk to, maybe even write them a letter and tell them have a great day and you're thinking about them, because you never know when it's their last day and the last time you're going to see them, especially during this dark time. I need t-shirts that say that on it. I'm serious.
All of your merchandise. You need to trademark it.
I do.
You should get here's your idea. You get a free postcard with a t-shirt, and so when people buy a t-shirt, they can send off the postcard to someone that they
God! Oh, I'm talking to you. Oh, we're gonna have a meeting next week. Get ready.
I went with my attorney. She saw it, and it's my idea. I want. No, I'm just kidding.
You get commission. You sell more, you get commission. We need more beautiful wigs like this. This wig was like $200 and some. So I need more big wig.
Thank you all so much for joining me. You're welcome to stay and watch, or you're welcome to log off. But thank you guys so much for joining me. You have a great night, 3 of you.
Thank you, Riley, for having us.
Of course. They were all amazing. Oh my goodness. That talk just went so good. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. I was very nervous because I've never had multiple people on this stream before. I usually just have like one other person, and that was just, my heart is full. My anxiety is non-existent. That was just so good. Thank you so much for tuning in. I've been like inspired. I'm like, let's plan Pride right now. Joe's like, no. But I just can't thank you guys enough. I can't thank our guests enough. I can't thank you enough for watching every week. For those of you that watch later in the week or rewatch whenever you rewatch the show, I hope you're doing well. And thank you for checking out the show every time that you do. It means the world to me. That you support what I'm doing, what we're doing as a group, and just everything. So thank you. Please, 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 support Ann Arbor Pride. This is our first fundraiser of the year for them, and you will see many more to come. But the more we raise, the better things we can do for you, and the greater the stream is going to be for you. So please get a ticket. It is in your comment section over on the side, and it is $25. We play via Zoom, so you get to see everybody that we're playing with, and it's a lot of fun. It is so much fun, and if you can't come, but you want to donate, buy a ticket, send us an email, let us know that you are donating your ticket to someone who maybe can't afford a ticket, and we will do that for you. We will give that to a lucky viewer. So thank you all again so much. I'm just blessed. I'm filled with so much love. Please check out also our Saturday show. We have a family-friendly drag show every Saturday morning at 11:30 a.m., where we do a story time, we do a dance lesson, we do a music lesson, and we do family-friendly performances. And Jaden and I have both been stepping into the realm of gender fluidity with our drag, which has been really fun to do with her and has also been just filling my heart. So always check out our Saturday show because it is free. It is on the internet for you to see for free. And there's always something new to check out and watch and laugh at or smile about. Um, Please take time for you. If not tonight, sometime by the end of this week, take time for you because know that you are loved and you are worthy of love. I'm going to end the stream with an ad I have for Friday's bingo. Always, I am here if anyone ever needs to talk. I don't always have advice, I don't always have words, but I always have an open heart. So, again, you are loved and you are worthy of love. And I hope you all have a great night. Bye, guys.
I'm late for a very important date. No time to say hello, goodbye. I'm late.
Oh my god, we're late to bingo! Oh, come on, Hershey, hurry! Oh, I gotta let you know real quick, because I'm a crazy bitch. It's okay, this show is for 18 and up. We have Ann Arbor Pride drag bingo. Yes, Ann Arbor Pride, that's what I mean, Sophie. So, it is $25, and half of the proceeds will be donated directly to Ann Arbor Pride, which is what? Virtual, because we don't know where the fuck we're gonna be this year, right? You know what I'm talking about, girl?
All about
So, next Friday, 8 o'clock, no matter if you can join us or not, pick up your tickets at eventbrite.com. You can search Boy Last Drag, and you will see my fabulous face, maybe airbrush, maybe not. Anyway, I will see you Friday, and we'll have a kiki, okay? I'll see you for Drag Bingo. I hope you win, girl. Okay, girl, we have to remember this, okay? Let's do this. Oh no, we need some more. Oh, here we go. Corona, stay safe. Friday.
What time is it?
It's at 8 o'clock.
What is it? Just for anybody?
It's for people that pay. Perfect. On Eventbrite. Watch this. Here we go.